The pastoral epistles are some of the richest books of the Bible to preach because they are written by the Apostle Paul to young ministers that have grown up in ministry underneath him. 2 Timothy is written at the end of Paul's life, and it is the last of inspired scripture that he composes. It is written from prison in Rome, the second Roman imprisonment, and it deals very directly with some key issues that the Apostle Paul wants to cover with Timothy related to his life and ministry and the requirements that God has for him as Paul prepares to exit, and also an exhortation to Timothy to come quickly because Paul knows that his exit from this life is near. Apart from the discussion that Jesus has with his disciples in the upper room, there is probably nowhere in Scripture that is a better, clear indication of what a mature man of God would say to the next generation with regard to being faithful to continue on the work. In chapter 1, he exhorts Timothy to be faithful as a minister in the midst of suffering. And in chapter 2, he gives Timothy several examples to follow, including himself and his own ministry, that is Paul's, as well as the example of a soldier, an athlete, a farmer. He calls him to be a humble servant, even in dealing with false teachers, and he tells him how to deal specifically with false teachers in chapter 3, and then reminds Timothy that the secret to success in ministry is the same as the secret to him coming to saving faith to begin with, namely the Scriptures. He closes out in chapter 4 famously with that beloved charge, that sacred charge that Paul has, and that is to preach the Word. And he closes out by summarizing marvelously his own life as an expression of worship to Christ as he prepares to enter into glory, knowing that all have fallen or abandoned him, but Christ has not. And so while he faces eternity, he tells Timothy in closing, "Bring me my cloak because I'm cold, and bring me the Scriptures because I want to review them one more time as I speak for Christ before I'm taken to glory." Some of the amazing portions of this passage include 2 Timothy 2, where Paul says that you need to entrust to the next generation of faithful men what has first been entrusted to you so they can carry that on. The doctrine of Scripture is articulated in 2 Timothy 3, verses 16 and 17, that all Scripture is theopneustos, breathed out by God, and it's authoritative, and it is useful for everything from rebuking to instructing and correcting and teaching us how to live a life that honors God. It's a marvelous text to preach. It's a marvelous book to study, not just for the sake of the man of God and his life and his ministry, but for the church as well. Because the definition of success in ministry, as Paul articulates it, is faithfulness. Faithfulness to preach the Word and to live the Word, no matter what it costs you. And that holds true for those in spiritual leadership as well as for all in the church.